What is up, nation? We are here today for our WrestleMania 40 predictions. I feel like we've been talking about, speculating on WrestleMania 40 literally since WrestleMania 39. Like, there has always been something to talk about leading up to this show over the last 12 months since the ending of WrestleMania 39 Night 2 when Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes. There has been so much speculation on what was going to happen this year, and might I say, the road to WrestleMania has been absolutely phenomenal. The best road to WrestleMania since 28, in my opinion. Some may say 30. I think that's just the Daniel Bryan stuff, but I won't necessarily argue. But this has been the best road to the grandest stage of them all. I was going to say of all time, but I guess, biggest WrestleMania of all time. They are kind of dubbing it. Grandest stage of them all. The road has been fun. Great build up. They've gotten different with the build up. They've gotten creative with certain matches. We're going to take our time in this video running down. Sometimes we do these prediction videos, we kind of breeze through some of the matches, 3-4 minutes, and we move on to the next. Not saying some of these have a super long explanation, but we're going to take our time. We have 13 matches to talk about between night 1 and night 2, and there is a lot to discuss going in to WrestleMania 40 and coming out of WrestleMania 40. So strap in. This is going to be very podcast style probably, and we're going to be predicting all of WrestleMania 40. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go follow me across all social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs. Leave a like and subscribe down below. Let us get into our WrestleMania XL predictions. Alright, we will kick things off with the Night 1 matches, of course. 7 matches on Night 1. Night 2's got 6 matches confirmed. I don't see anything else being added. No need to add anything else. But we will start with Saturday night, Night 1. We will kick it off with Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Dominik Mysterio and Santos Escobar. First thing I want to break down here as we get into this matchup. First thing, it's just going to be an awesome match. Look at the talent that's in here. I'm surprised, honestly, that Dominik got back involved with Rey Mysterio leading into this year's WrestleMania. Obviously, it's just a few weeks of build with Dominik involved, but not in a bad way, because Dominik and Rey have so much history, and I mean, it's a father and son duo. It doesn't take much to link them back up. Santos and Rey, we all assumed they would be on some kind of collision course to WrestleMania, whether it was one-on-one Rey and Santos. People were predicting LWO versus Legado del Fantasma in a multi-person matchup. This is the one we are getting, though. Dragon Lee alongside Rey, Dominik alongside Santos. They are brewing something up with Dominik and Santos and maybe even Andrade as well. Something's fishy. You know what I mean? The Judgment Day, and we're going to talk a lot about the Judgment Day in this video with a tag team title match, Rhea Ripley, possibly the Money in the Bank briefcase being cashed in at WrestleMania. I don't see the Judgment Day, let's just say, lasting the rest of 2024. They're not necessarily, a combustible element that's going to implode on the Raw after WrestleMania, but 3-4 months from now, we may be looking at a WWE without the Judgment Day. Slowly but surely, we're seeing miscommunications, Dominik doing whatever he wants, Santos getting involved, Andrade, something interesting going on there. At first, it was kind of Finn Balor leading him in and being like, yo, I like this guy, I know this guy, we have history, whatever he said. Then Dominik's kind of been talking to him. I don't know what they're brewing up, if they're going to kind of break off Judgment Day but form a kind of new faction, a branch off of the Judgment Day, or maybe it's going to still be called the Judgment Day, but it's just going to be a new take with, I don't know, Dominik and Andrade, and I don't know. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen after WrestleMania 40. That may play into this matchup. Of course, Andrade not on the WrestleMania card. It's a hard one to call when we go predictions, right? But I think because there is something, in my opinion, brewing with Dominik and Santos and Andrade maybe. And Andrade may not be in it. Maybe he's going to be against them. I don't know. But he's kind of been interlinked, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and say Dominik and Santos pick up the victory here. I think typical story, if that's what you want to call it, would call for Rey Mysterio to get his comeback, or I should say get his payback at WrestleMania, which I think is maybe even more likely the way it's going to happen, and then anything involving Santos and Dominik may be, a couple chapters, in the future. May not be something that really kicks off at WrestleMania. But I'm just feeling Dominik and Santos. Sometimes you get that gut feeling, and I'm just saying Dominik and Santos, those are I think the guys I'm going to go with for WrestleMania. I'm really looking forward to this match. Lucha Libre talent, I'm all about it. Dragon Lee's first WrestleMania, Santos Escobar's first WrestleMania as well. I think this match is going to tear down the house in Philadelphia on Saturday. Again, a part of me almost still feels like I'm picking the wrong guys. Like, I feel like Rey is going to get his payback on Saturday night, but I just got that feeling. You know, something's just telling me Dominik and Santos getting the victory. So that's going to be my prediction. Dominik Mysterio and Santos Escobar to get this tag team victory over Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Next up, we will go the 6-woman tag team matchup. Damage Control, the women's tag team champions Asuka and Kairi Sane, alongside Dakota Kai, going up against Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. Only her second WWE match, and it's going down at WrestleMania. And this is something I think a lot of people saw coming. You know, leading even before the Royal Rumble, I feel like we were talking about, you know, there might be a situation where Jade is making her official in-ring debut in the WWE at WrestleMania. Now, it's only her second matchup, so still pretty close to it, but still, obviously, she already wrestled at the Royal Rumble, but now officially part of SmackDown. Looks like she's going to be in the fold from here on out. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a smart way to get Jade on the card, rubbing elbows with some already established talent without putting her in there in a one-on-one match versus a Bianca Belair or whoever, let's say, because I'm sure Jade is going to be huge. Look at the entrance she had on SmackDown last week. Obviously screams superstar, but one thing we all knew from her AEW run, it's not like she's, you know, the best wrestler in the world, that she doesn't need to be. But if you can still have her in the fold and take, you know, her time and kind of protect her in a sense and not expose her for, you know, not being on the level of Bianca Belair, well then yeah, why not put her in the 6-woman tag? She's gonna get to be out there with Bianca, with Damage Control, with Naomi as well. Like, this is a great spot for Jade at WrestleMania. And you know, this is something we also talked about, the women's tag team titles not being on the line. I'm fine with it. Asuka and Kairi Sane have kind of beaten a lot of the teams that are on Monday Night Raw, or, you know, a lot of the teams have beaten themselves on Monday Night Raw. You know, we've seen pretty much all the matches we can get between Baszler and Zoe Stark, Candice and Indy, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Like, they've all faced each other. One or most of the teams, I feel like, has gone after Damage Control at some point. There's really nothing left there. So I was kind of fine with the titles not being on the line at WrestleMania 40 in like a multi-team match or anything. I think this 6-woman tag was the best case scenario, and I think it's going to be a solid matchup. And also Bianca Belair, you know, I just didn't see her being left off the WrestleMania card. I saw her not being involved in a championship match. We've talked about this for months here on the channel. Bianca versus Jade was something I honestly thought might end up on WrestleMania, but Bianca just being left off the card, no way that was going to happen. One of the top stars in the company. Another great spot for her. I'm looking forward to this matchup, especially to see what Jade is going to do. I think it's going to be a very spotlighted match because of Jade, and I think they're going to make a big deal. And of course, my prediction will be Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill picking up the victory. I do not see a world where Damage Control is coming out on top. I think this is a easy victory for Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. So definitely looking forward to the matchup for all the reasons I already mentioned, but I'm going the baby faces here to defeat Damage Control on WrestleMania Saturday. We will move on to one of the biggest matches on WrestleMania weekend, Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. No championships on the line here, just a one-on-one match that I think we all saw coming since last summer. I think this was the main reason, and I literally made a video talking about it back then, back in September, August, whenever it was. The main reason why Jey was moved away from SmackDown to delay this matchup happening until WrestleMania 40, and even going back just a couple of months when the main event of Mania was up in confusion, this was the one match that I think everybody could guarantee was going to end up on WrestleMania, Jey versus Jimmy, and I'm looking forward to it. I think they've done just enough build for Jey and Jimmy. They haven't tried to overdo it. Jey's obviously been involved with the Bloodline stuff, or I should say Jimmy and Jey have been involved with the Bloodline stuff and the Roman and Cody build, so it's kind of been intertwined at times, but Jimmy has done some great promos leading up to this matchup. Jey has obviously continued to be red hot, one of the top stars in the company. I think this is going to be a solid matchup. When it comes to the winner, I'll be honest, part of me wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Uso stole a victory, very Matt Hardy, WrestleMania 25-esque. I don't think anybody really thought Matt Hardy was going to pick up the win in the Extreme Rules match back then. And then he did. And obviously Jeff got his comeuppance the next month at Backlash. They had a stretcher match on SmackDown, and I think Matt won that. And then Jeff, I was trying to like recalculate it in my head. Then Jeff got his comeuppance, if you will. But so maybe they could do something similar with Jey and Jimmy. But I really don't see a series of matches here, maybe. But I think Jey will defeat Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania. And, a lot of people are speculating maybe, not necessarily at Mania itself, but maybe in the coming months, Jey and Jimmy are going to start to, come together again, after WrestleMania, really bury the hatchet, bury their beef, and be a tag team. I'm not saying they're not going to, bury the hatchet and be on the same side again, but there's really no reason to put them just back in the tag team, and it's just, the Usos are back together. Jey, I'm not saying he's going to be world champion or WWE champion, but very well could win the Intercontinental Championship this year, goes to SmackDown, very well could win the United States Championship this year. Jey's got a whole, if there's one thing that has come out, ever since Jey has gone to Raw, is he has proven he has got a whole list of stuff to do as a singles guy that he's never done. And being, red hot, one of the top babyface in the company, yeah, why wouldn't you at least tap into some of that where it fits? Again, I'm not saying he can't be on the same side as his brother while doing it, but no reason to really put them back in a full-time tag team. We've been there, done that. They've held the titles plenty of times, longest reigning tag team champions. Jimmy, I'm not saying he's going to go on to win singles titles, but there's still meat on the bone for him as a heel, as a singles guy, or even just as a babyface, whatever they would want to do with Jimmy. But I think most importantly, coming out of WrestleMania, whether they bury the hatchet in the future or not, which I'm sure they eventually will on television, but Jey Uso picking up the victory, and then I think you look out for Jey in the rest of 2024, man, whether it's going after the IC title, going after the United States title. We'll get to my prediction for the United States title match later, but we're getting through WrestleMania. Usually we get a draft sometimes after WrestleMania. Maybe Jey and the United States champion are going to end up on the same brand. Maybe Jey Uso's going after the United States title later this year. I know that's a little out of left field, but I would just say look out for Jey to win some gold in 2024. But yes, in the end, my final prediction for this matchup, Jey Uso, I definitely see him defeating Jey on WrestleMania Saturday. Next, we will move on to the six-pack ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. The Judgment Day defending against DIY, Awesome Truth, A-Town Down Under. I don't know if that's an official team name or if that's just something catchy. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, New Catch Republic, and The New Day. Now, before we even start breaking down this matchup, evidently, the rules of this matchup have changed. It's not just really for one set of titles. Both individual sets of tag team titles are evidently at stake here. Apparently, I know I keep saying paraphrase of that. One title set is going to get pulled down, but the match doesn't stop. The match keeps going until both sets have individually been pulled down. The Raw and SmackDown tag team titles, both individually at stake. Am I making sense? You know the rules. I'm just trying to explain it nice and thoroughly. Interesting decision, I will say. I figured we would eventually get a split of the tag team titles. It's honestly taken longer than I thought. I would have done it, months ago and had, a tournament finals leading up to WrestleMania or something, but that's besides the point. And at this point, I thought we'll probably just get through WrestleMania and then they'd introduce a set of tag team titles for the opposing brand that the champions aren't on after WrestleMania. Evidently, at WrestleMania, they're going to split this gold. Interesting way to do it. I'm hoping it's not too awkward in the matchup when one team pulls down, let's just say the Raw tag team titles, and then I assume would go to pull down the SmackDown tag team titles, right? Or is their night finished? Maybe I missed that on Raw. I assume they still compete in the matchup. I don't think their night's finished, but regardless, if that's the case, then I would assume we're not going to have just one winner here. I would predict two sets of champions coming out, two different teams, two winners for this matchup. So we'll do what we would have done anyway. Process of elimination. New Day, I don't think they are winning either set of tag team titles. The Judgment Day. I think they're losing the gold here. I think it would be weird for them just to retain one set of championships, right? We still got the Raw tag team titles, but fill in the blank got the SmackDown one. So if they're both getting separated here, Judgment Day, I think, definitely loses all the gold across the board. I don't think, at least, that's completely incorrect because I picked Dominik earlier, and then we'll get to the Rhea and Becky match. Well, at least for Damian and Finn, not going to be a good WrestleMania Saturday. Judgment Day, I do not think, will retain any tag team titles at WrestleMania. It leaves us with DIY, A-Town Down Under, New Catch Republic, and Awesome Truth. Awesome Truth, I think, will win one set of gold. Let's just say, I don't know. I assume the titles are going to get dubbed officially, World Tag Team titles and WWE Tag Team titles after WrestleMania, and that'll probably depend on who ends up on what brand, whether it's before or after a draft, whatever. So let's just say Awesome Truth, I do think, will win one set of tag team titles. Before this ladder match got announced, I said it, I think, in my Elimination Chamber prediction video and multiple other videos, I thought we were just going to get Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. And you wouldn't have really heard a complaint out of me, because that's kind of where the story was heading. That's kind of what was called for. R-Truth, pinning Damian Priest to win the tag team titles. Obviously, we have this ladder match, certainly not complaining. It's going to be freaking chaos out there with 12 guys. But I feel like that R-Truth specific story needs a nice feather in the cap. So I feel like Truth pulling down a set of tag team titles, probably like the last ones to pull a set of gold down, I think just needs to happen. So Awesome Truth, I'll say, is one winner of this matchup. And then that leaves us with DIY, New Catch Republic, and Theory, and Waller. I'm going to take Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate out of this. I think I'm a big fan, but I don't see them winning the tag team titles right now. DIY, I could see, they've been, intertwined with Awesome Truth. I think it's honestly helped them continue to get over on Monday Night Raw, on top of the fact that they've just been, incredible. We've had some awesome DIY matches over the last few months. Their match with the Judgment Day, I think, on the match, or I should say on the Raw after the Royal Rumble was, incredible. DIY, I could see pulling down the gold. However, I'm thinking about this in my head now that we're going to have two sets of winners. And with R-Truth being the babyface here, I don't think another babyface is going to win a set of tag team titles. I could be wrong. So what I'm predicting, and this is literally how I could see the match ending, is whether it's Austin Theory or Grayson Waller, maybe both of them, taking down, let's just say let's just call the SmackDown tag team titles since they're on SmackDown. Taking down the SmackDown tag team titles. Celebrate for a second. Oh shit, get the other ones. Get the other ones before they're about to pull down the Raw tag team titles. Here comes Truth and Miz, knocking them off the ladders, and Truth pulls down the Raw tag team titles, and then Truth kind of celebrates and gets that, last moment. That's what I think is going to happen on WrestleMania Saturday. I think A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to leave with one set of tag team championships, and Awesome Truth will leave with the other. And I think R-Truth will be the guy, at the end of it. Like, I'm the man, because that's, again, the feather in the cap of the Judgment Day storyline. That's my prediction for what I'm sure is going to be a chaotic matchup with a very unique and interesting finish. Again, I just hope it's not, awkward when one team wins and whatever. We already talked about that, but that's what I'm predicting. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to leave with one set of tag team titles. Awesome Truth will leave with another set of tag team titles. Next up, we got the Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther defending against Sami Zayn. We have talked a lot about this matchup on the channel, especially a couple weeks ago when Sami Zayn won the gauntlet to become #1 contender. Let me just say, man, I have loved the fact that they have used Chad Gable as Sami Zayn's, I was about to say personal cheerleader, but that would be completely incorrect, as Sami Zayn's biggest doubter turned into trainer, as we saw on Monday Night Raw. Biggest supporter, doubter turned into supporter. Using Gable in that role, and maybe they didn't do this because of the reason I'm going to say, but I think using Gable in that role was a great way to make sure fans don't turn on Sami Zayn just because they wanted Chad Gable in this spot. Because there was a little bit of internet backlash when Sami Zayn won the gauntlet opposed to Chad Gable. A lot of people out there wanted Gable to fight Gunther and dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania. Ends up being Sami Zayn, and you guys, if you've watched some recent videos, know my thoughts on that. I think Gable is still in the running to take down Gunther for the Intercontinental title, just not right now. And I think it's just not right now, most importantly, because I don't think Gunther's going to be anywhere near the World Championship as soon as some people might think, whether it's McIntyre, Punk, Rollins, Priest, Sami Zayn himself. I think that world title situation is going to be pretty busy over the next couple of months, even leading in to Bash in Berlin in Germany, where a lot of people were calling for Gunther to challenge for the world heavyweight title. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Gunther's going to end up in that world title scene, but I think he's going to continue past WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion. As great of a fight I do think Sami Zayn is going to put up, and although there is a part of me that won't be shocked if Sami Zayn wins this matchup on Saturday to become the Intercontinental Champion, because Gunther's been kind of beating his ass. Beat his ass on Raw, cost him the match 2 weeks ago. Momentum's kind of in the court of Gunther, and, prototypical wrestling one-on-one would tell you that the guy with the most momentum a lot of times does lose. Not always, but a lot of times. maybe you could say Sami Zayn has his own momentum, but, I don't know. I think it's a toss-up in a sense. I think Sami Zayn's got a shot, but my gut feeling is telling me Gunther's going to retain the Intercontinental Championship. I think Sami's in this spot, because you weren't going to leave Sami off WrestleMania. The guy just main evented last year. He wasn't going to be in that spot. I think Sami is going to be in the world title scene in the next few months. That's just my prediction. I could be completely wrong. And I think he could have been in the world title scene at WrestleMania this year if CM Punk didn't come back, and then obviously, plans changed. Sami Zayn, a big star for Gunther to fight on the biggest show and actually be a legit guy for him to, for fans to possibly look at, to possibly take down Gunther. No disrespect to, I don't know, Ricochet's been getting, some heat as of late, getting heated up on Monday Night Raw as of late. And obviously they ran him and Gunther before. It's, outside of the point I'm trying to make. But if they put Ricochet against Gunther at WrestleMania, as great of a match as it would have been, I don't think anyone would have believed Ricochet was going to win the match. You know what I mean? But Sami Zayn's made it to that spot as a top talent where, he's got a shot in hell no matter the case. So, Sami Zayn could win on Saturday. But my gut feeling, my prediction, is that Gunther will retain the Intercontinental Championship. Maybe they're going to keep the story going a little bit longer, but I do think Sami, look out for him to win the Money in the Bank this summer and go on to get involved in the World Championship scene the end of this year into next year. I digress on that situation. And then look out for Chad Gable. I think they've strategically kept him in the mix because Chad Gable eventually will be the one, whether it's at Backlash, whether it's at SummerSlam, whatever, whenever it is. But I do think Chad Gable will be the one to defeat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I just think the timing was just not right now, and that's why Gable isn't going to be competing at WrestleMania. But as for this Saturday, Gunther to defeat Sami Zayn to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Continuing on with WrestleMania Saturday, we have the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Probably the biggest championship match they could have done for Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania this year. I was in the Liv Morgan camp. I thought there was a story there that could be finished at WrestleMania. However, just like somebody could say, well, there was a story with Chad Gable, it's just not the time for Liv Morgan. I think you look out for Liv Morgan after WrestleMania, but WrestleMania, it's about Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. This is going to be a solid matchup. Do not get me wrong. I don't know if it's just me, and I feel bad saying it because I like Becky Lynch, but I feel like I'm always saying this. I have a problem taking Becky Lynch seriously. I don't know what it is. I know a lot of people like the promo she did 2 weeks ago where she was about to start crying in the ring in Chicago. And I'm not knocking that, the effort there, but there's just something about it that I just can't take seriously. But then and the reason I bring that up, I'm not just saying that just to bash Becky Lynch here, because again, I like Becky Lynch, but the reason I bring that up is she is opposing somebody who is literally the complete package. Not just one of the biggest stars in the women's division, but one of the biggest stars in the WWE right now. Rhea Ripley's got it all. Let's just call it as it is. Obviously has look, obviously can wrestle, she can talk, I take her seriously. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but the reason I say all that is because when it comes to WrestleMania, and you guys are here for my predictions, as great of a match I think it is, as much as I recognize that this is the two top stars, outside of some of the obvious like Bianca and, the Io and Bayley stuff, but two of the top stars that they could put together for the biggest WrestleMania of all time, as much as I recognize all that, this is a landslide for me, dude. I don't see a world where Becky Lynch should be winning this matchup. She has been there. She has done that. She has had her WrestleMania moments. I know you could say, well, Rhea won last year. Yes, she did. And that's where this championship reign kicked off. And you know where it should continue? This year at WrestleMania. I'm sorry. I see no good reason why Rhea Ripley should be losing this matchup. And again, I feel the same about this matchup. And maybe a little bit more towards just the match itself, just being, a big deal. And it's something that WWE has been building here and there and planting seeds for a while. I feel the same way about this matchup as I do Gunther, Sami Zayn, and the Chad Gable situation. I think Becky Lynch is the bigger star, but I don't think Becky Lynch is the right person to take down the champion in Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I think Rhea's reign should live on past WrestleMania, going over a year as champion, adding Becky Lynch to the list, her biggest defense yet. And again, I think you look out for Liv Morgan. I honestly do. I think Liv is on the cusp of that next big feud with Rhea Ripley. I think they kept her and Nia Jax involved for the majority of this, up until the last few weeks when they really just started to dial in on Rhea versus Becky. But they kept them women involved, I think, for good reason, especially Liv and Becky going at it on Raw. Liv still, you know, they haven't shied away from her wanting to get her payback on Rhea Ripley. I do believe that was done by design. I do believe Rhea Ripley retains at WrestleMania, and I think you look out for Liv Morgan throughout, you know, the spring and summer to become number one contender and be the one to take down Rhea Ripley whenever that may be, whenever the time is deemed right for her to win the Women's World Championship. Again, I feel the same about this as I do Gunther, Sami, and Chad Gable. I feel like it's the same situation, just with the Intercontinental Championship and then the Women's World Championship. Rhea and Becky, two big stars, gonna be a great matchup, but there's been nothing on the road to WrestleMania that tells me, like, maybe Becky is the right decision. Maybe Becky is the one to go. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. Rhea Ripley's just riding the high right now, and why take her off that pedestal when she ain't done riding the high yet? Rhea Ripley to defeat Becky Lynch and retain the Women's World Championship. And then we will get into our WrestleMania Saturday main event. Tag team matchup, the biggest tag team matchup in WrestleMania history. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Freakin Rollins versus the Bloodline, the final boss, The Rock, and the undisputed WWE Champion Roman Reigns. This is going to be pretty freaking crazy. You know, it was a speculation, let's call it, that we were discussing. Never really something that I think was developed into like a heavy rumor online, but even going back to last year, WrestleMania 39, you know, people talking about Cody Rhodes being the champion and or Cody Rhodes fighting Roman Reigns, and what if The Rock comes back? And I remember the speculation leading up to the Royal Rumble 2023 being like, maybe Roman wrestles on both nights at 39. One night versus The Rock, one night versus Cody, beats The Rock, loses to Cody. And then obviously that didn't happen. And then we thought maybe that would happen this year. I remember I've made several videos going back literally to the spring and summer last year talking about like, yo, 40 might be the year for The Rock to come back. And then like, the road to this match has been crazy, and the fact that Roman is actually going to compete on both nights, now with The Rock involved, now with Cody involved, honestly is like, I feel like one of those things that, not literally, but it just feels like that, like fans speculated on it so much that it came into fruition. And now we have a 1-2 banger on night one and night two. And obviously we would have been getting CM Punk and Seth Rollins on night one, most likely, but it is what it is. The cards are played as they are. And now we have this tag team matchup, and it is going to be freaking epic, to say the least. Cody and Seth win, Bloodline free on Sunday. Rock and Roman win, Rock and Roman win. Look how I was trying to set the stage and then completely butchered it. The Bloodline win, Bloodline rules on Sunday night. As great as the match is going to be, in my opinion, I think it's another landslide. I think it's another clear-cut victory here for the Bloodline. I don't see a world where Cody and Seth win this matchup, pinning either The Rock or Roman Reigns, especially Roman Reigns the night before the championship matchup, and Cody and Roman just going off without a hitch. Seems too easy. Seems all too easy, and I just don't see a world where that happens. You know, one thing about this last year has been building up Cody Rhodes' adversity, right? I'm sure people are tired of hearing that word at this point. The adversity for Cody Rhodes from 39 to 40. Well, there's still some adversity to be had. He has got his ass beat 2 weeks in a row by The Rock and now Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. And unfortunately, there's one more roadblock to get over, and that's Saturday night for Cody Rhodes, when The Rock pins Cody Rhodes. I know that's now become a rumor on social media, you know, Rock pinning Cody on Saturday, but you know, we've been talking about it here on the channel. I don't know, maybe you guys should subscribe if you're not already. We're really laying things down as they should be here, but Saturday night, I do believe the Bloodline will win and allow Bloodline rules on Sunday, and The Rock needs to pin Cody simply for the reason, really two reasons. Rock versus Cody, now you set that up for later on in the spring, summer, whether it's in Saudi, Clash of the Castle, SummerSlam, you name it. And Rock pinning Cody on WrestleMania 40 Sunday, or I should say on Saturday, WrestleMania weekend. Rock pinning Cody WrestleMania weekend, and Roman potentially not pinning Cody WrestleMania weekend. All the more tension being seeds being planted for Rock and Roman build in the long term. WrestleMania Saturday, the Bloodline will defeat Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Guys, before we get in to WrestleMania Sunday. I want to remind you to hit the like and subscribe down below. And I also want to remind you that we are live every single Thursday night here on the channel. We have done 3 live streams so far. We're taking this week off because it's WrestleMania week. And after this video goes up, there's nothing left to be said. But we will be back next Thursday and every Thursday moving forward. Noah Nation Wrestling live each and every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Subscribe and hit the notifications. That way you never miss a live stream. But let us get in to WrestleMania Sunday. And yes, I've been holding a pen this whole time. I got my notebook right here. I'm feeling sophisticated. I'm feeling the WrestleMania energy. WrestleMania Sunday. We're going to kick things off with the Philadelphia Street Fight. 6-man tag, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament, Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor. I am very much looking forward to this matchup. I think it's going to be kick-ass, and I'm happy that these guys are making it on the WrestleMania card. Some of those names that are kind of on the border, like, I don't know if they're going to be snubbed off the card or not, but they made it on the card as they should have, because this feud has been going on since December. I think Lashley and Kross pass in the U.S. title tournament on the road to the Royal Rumble. I think that was tribute to the troops in December. So, like, they've been building this match for a while, and it needed a proper conclusion. I was going to be disappointed if they threw it on a SmackDown or something like that. And on top of the fact that this match made it on the card, they did exactly what I was hoping for. If any match was going to get a stipulation, a no holds barred, Extreme Rules, a street fight, I felt like this was the best case scenario. Why? Because granted, although this matchup has been building for a couple months, I'm fair to say, even though I love Lashley and I love Karrion Kross, probably one of the most least interesting matches to the masses out there on the WrestleMania card. So how do you add some more intrigue to the matchup? Make it not be one of those, oh, we got to take a break during this match. Make it a freaking Philadelphia street fight and let them beat the hell out of each other. This is going to be fun. It is going to be chaotic. I am looking forward to it. And again, I'm just happy all these guys made it on the WrestleMania card. As for the victor here, I assume this will be the end of the storyline, and Kross and AOP have beaten Lashley and Street Profits' ass numerous times on Friday Night SmackDown. So I would assume Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford will get the victory in Philadelphia on Sunday night. And I'm hoping, Final Testament, takes the next step, I think is what I'm trying to say after WrestleMania. I really could say the same thing about Lashley and the Street Profits, because Lashley and Profits had kind of a rocky year since last year's WrestleMania, and I feel like a victory this year, finally being, getting past this storyline that really turned them babyface once again, can be the next step to be like, all right, we're back to where we used to be. Let's move on to something bigger. And I feel the same thing about Final Testament. I really like the group. I think it has great potential. Although I think they're going to lose on WrestleMania, I don't think it should be a dead end for them. Move these two factions to opposite brands after WrestleMania when we get a draft, and let's start something new. I really like both these units. I'm happy they made it on the card. Lashley and Street Profits to win the Philadelphia street fight. At the top of this video, I was trying to keep the energy at a minimum so I didn't burn myself out, but then we started getting later in the card, and now I'm fired up. You know what I mean? Now I'm getting the energy's flowing for WrestleMania, so hopefully we don't crash and burn by the end of this video. Let's keep it rolling. WrestleMania Sunday, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. This match is going to be a doozy. I think this is the dark horse of the WrestleMania card completely on both nights. I think this matchup has been built great. The story makes sense, and they have gotten creative and made it entertaining all the way through. AJ Styles felt disrespected by LA Knight all those months ago. LA Knight gets pushed into the ropes by Roman Reigns. AJ goes flying at the Royal Rumble. LA Knight gets pinned. Now AJ Styles is pissed at LA Knight even more because he cost him the WWE title. LA Knight gets involved, cost AJ Styles a match, his Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Then AJ finally gets some retribution, cost LA Knight the Elimination Chamber match, and they've been at each other's throats ever since. Simple story, and they have told it in a fun way ever since the Elimination Chamber. These two trying to beat each other's asses. The home invasion for LA Knight. LA Knight dressing up as the security guard last week. AJ's had some great promos. I love the one they did 3-4 weeks ago at this point. He was backstage sitting on the steps. I've been loving this feud. I think it's going to be a dark horse match to look out for WrestleMania weekend. It's been giving me NXT TakeOver vibes. Just two of the top guys on the brand. No championships. Just beef between each other. Go handle it at the big show. That's just the vibe I'm getting. I think this is going to be real good. When it comes to the winner, LA Knight's first WrestleMania, man. People were upset he wasn't on 39. All this time later, I think it's time LA Knight gets his due diligence on the biggest show of the year. LA Knight absolutely has to win this matchup. I'll honestly be surprised if AJ Styles wins, but I don't see a world where that happens. I think this feud comes to a conclusion at WrestleMania when LA Knight defeats AJ Styles in Philadelphia. We will move on to the United States Championship matchup. Triple threat, Logan Paul defending against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Now, definitely looking forward to the triple threat. Honestly, kind of took me by surprise at first, but then as the weeks, went on, I was like, if anything was going to get a multi-person match on this show, I'm glad it's the triple threat. When we're building up to WrestleMania and everybody's putting together their fantasy cards, I think I said I'm glad it's a triple threat. I meant I'm glad it's the United States Championship match. But when we're usually building up to Mania and everybody's putting together their cards and they don't know what to do with certain guys, everybody's always fantasy booking ladder. And I know we got one with the tag team titles, but 6-man ladder match for this, 5-pack challenge for that. And it doesn't make any sense, but they have taken their time and built up Logan Paul and Kevin Owens feud. Then they got Orton involved at the Chamber, and we have a multi-man match that actually makes sense at WrestleMania. And I know the tag team titles are just 6 teams that all qualify, but at least they qualified, and it's going to be chaos. But in this case, it's a multi-man match that makes sense, is what I'm trying to say. Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, I thought was going to end up being one-on-one, especially after the Royal Rumble, and especially after they weren't going to run it back at the Elimination Chamber. Then they got Randy Orton involved. And when I say that, because if it was just Kevin Owens and Logan Paul one-on-one, I would have said Kevin Owens to win the United States Championship. If it was just Logan Paul and Randy Orton one-on-one, I would have said Randy Orton to win the United States Championship. But I got to be honest here, I think Logan Paul is going to find a way to win and retain the United States Championship. Kevin Owens and Orton have been pretty buddy-buddy as of late on SmackDown. I think they're going to have I don't know if it's not a KO show. Is it a KO show with Owens and Orton? I think they're going to have some segment advertised for SmackDown this Friday. And I assume they're going to butt heads there, and then they'll go into WrestleMania Sunday, ready to, fight each other for the United States Championship. I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But again, when it comes to the winner, Logan Paul, I think, is going to find a way. He's going to sneak out somehow, probably pinning Kevin Owens. I don't really see Randy Orton getting pinned, but somebody's going to get pinned on that Prime bottle in the middle of the WrestleMania ring. Listen, Logan Paul losing the United States Championship at Mania was something I think a lot of people thought for a while, whether it was going to be him and LA Knight, him and Owens, him and Orton, whatever the match was going to be. But now that it's a triple threat, yeah, I just see Logan Paul. I just don't see him losing the belt here. And no reason to. Have him go into SummerSlam in Cleveland as the United States champion. Maybe he loses the title in his hometown because he's Logan Paul, so he'll probably get booed and his hometown crowd will pop, and it'll be a great moment. You know what I mean? But as for WrestleMania Sunday, Logan Paul retain the title. That's what's telling me is going to happen there. So that's my prediction for the triple threat matchup. Sunday is going to be pretty SmackDown heavy because the SmackDown Women's Championship, better known as the WWE Women's Championship, gonna be on the line in the highly anticipated match between Io Sky and the Royal Rumble match winner, Bayley. This is going to be, I am saying it right now, this is my true, honest thoughts. This is going to be Bayley's best main roster match ever. I honestly believe that. I think it's going to be Bayley's best performance since NXT. Not that she hasn't had great performances over the years. Do not get me wrong. We have, sang Bayley's praises in the past. I just think the story's there. It's her first singles match at WrestleMania, which is crazy. I just think the time is now. Bayley and Io Sky are going to have a show-stealing type of match on WrestleMania Sunday, and I think it's going to be Bayley's best performance since her NXT days when she was tearing it up with the Sasha Banks of the world and anybody else. This match is going to be great. I think the story has been very nice, very nicely executed. Io Sky, something, if I can get this out, I talked about earlier how I just have trouble taking Becky Lynch seriously a lot of the times, just in her promos and whatnot. Io don't even speak English, but something about her's just sinister. And I'm like, she could fuck you up. Like that's the vibe I get from Io Sky, which makes me love it, man. I love that aspect of Io Sky. I love the character, kind of sinister, kind of dark, kind of mysterious. I don't know if I'm just throwing out words here if people get that vibe too, but I say all that because we've just seen that tenfold in this build with Bayley. Her promo last week on SmackDown, which was all in Japanese with subtitles, and then the brawl. I've really enjoyed this build-up. I've really enjoyed this feud, and I'm invested in both of these characters. And honestly, especially Bayley, somebody who I haven't really been invested in years. So it's nice to be on the other end of the fence. When it comes to the winner, this feud, I don't want to say ends because I think we'll get a rematch, but Bayley has to win at WrestleMania, in my opinion. Io's had a great reign as champion, man, and I'm just happy she's going in as champion, because I've said it here on the channel before, going back months. We're going back to like the fall here, but I thought there was a chance Io was just kind of a placeholder as champion until she lost it to a Bianca or a Charlotte, and then Io might not even end up on WrestleMania. But then obviously plans are plans. Charlotte's injured. I don't know if that would have how that would have affected WrestleMania plans, but is what it is. These are the cards we have. Io making it into WrestleMania as the champion is something I love to see. Won Money in the Bank last year, cashed in at SummerSlam. She has had a lengthy reign. I think it comes to an end on Sunday, though. Bayley defeating Io Sky is the feather in the cap of this story. And again, I think we have another matchup maybe if this feud continues, getting a rematch down the line, which I'm sure would be great, and I'd love to see it. But at WrestleMania Sunday, Bayley needs to win the WWE Women's Championship. All right, 2 more matches to go, and it don't get any bigger than these 2 matches. World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. Seth Rollins defends against Drew McIntyre. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room right away. Damian Priest, Mr. Money in the Bank, Senior Money in the Bank, also an X factor in this matchup. First off, let me just say, the pivot from Rollins and Punk to then going McIntyre and Rollins, this feud has been awesome. And obviously it has to do a lot with McIntyre and his promo, and I'm not taking nothing away from Seth, but he's been pretty much like, and that's been part of the story, more involved in the Cody and Bloodline stuff. McIntyre's done a great job with his promos, the eulogy on Monday Night Raw, the promo 2 weeks ago in Chicago with Rollins and Punk. I'm pumped up for this matchup. I think they've done a great job building this up, and the pivot from Rollins and Punk to then this being the second, third plan, whatever you want to say, it was a great pivot, and I'm happy McIntyre's in this spot. And I know you go on social media and anybody can sing anybody's praises, and McIntyre's getting a lot of praise as he deserves. But I gotta say, man, personally, I really feel hyped for this, because we all had those guys as kids, those heels as kids, that for some reason we were just like, I like that guy. That's my guy. For me, that was Drew McIntyre. I'm not trying to date Drew McIntyre, act like he's an old man, because he's not. But like, I was a kid. I was in 5th, 6th grade, whatever it was, when McIntyre was making his debut on television. Like, and for whatever reason, back in 2009, 2010, when they were dubbing this guy the Chosen One and he was Intercontinental Champion, I was just like, that's my fucking guy. I love Drew McIntyre, and I've loved him ever since. So I'm happy that he's getting this spot. I'm pumped up for it. I'll tell you right now, before I get into my actual prediction, favoritism, all behind Drew McIntyre winning this. Like, and I try, or I don't even want to say I try, I do. I execute when it comes to differentiating my favoritism to what needs to happen, what has to happen, what I think's going to happen, all that stuff when I'm talking wrestling. But yeah, I'll absolutely say the favoritism in me wants Drew McIntyre to win this world title and leave Philadelphia as the champion on Sunday night. But there's a couple of things to talk about here, and one of those is, let me not say that favoritism is like out of the question, because it is like absolutely a possibility. But we have to talk about Damian Priest. Or let me say this first. Let me set the stage. I told you at the top of this video we were gonna dive deep into some stuff, jump around, whatever. It's WrestleMania, we go big or go home. Seth Rollins, I'll say this, I don't think he leaves WrestleMania as World Heavyweight Champion. I think between Saturday and Sunday, Rollins is gonna be too beat up, and he's not going to retain the world title. And he's going to be too beat up to not show up in the main event, which we'll talk about. So then it comes down to McIntyre and Priest. Priest, like I said earlier, I do think the Judgment Day will lose the tag team championships. That Money in the Bank, man. That Money in the Bank. They had a chance to just do a little Edge and John Cena situation back in January. Give Priest the briefcase, or give Priest the title for a couple of weeks. Maybe have Rollins give it back, obviously barring the Rollins injury. They had multiple chances to really give Damian Priest a successful cash in, whether it was a short title reign, a couple month title reign, and put the title back on Seth if they needed to. But now we're here. And now it's like, listen, Priest is either going to cash in a Mania or the night after, successfully, or that's it. Because I'm trying to, I almost don't want to say that's it, because I've said that's it multiple times and been like, listen, the ship has sailed on Priest, at least for me, winning the briefcase or winning the title. And that doesn't mean I don't like Damian Priest. Love Damian Priest, and I would like to see him as world champion, but I multiple times just thought the ship has sailed. But now we look at WrestleMania, and Priest is absolutely an option, and maybe the Raw after WrestleMania as well. But I think we're just talking in general here. WrestleMania, that contract expires in July. It's now or never. Like, what's Priest going to cash in at Backlash in France? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's very hard to call. You know, one thing I mentioned in a video recently is that Priest feels very far away from the main event and the world title. And to be fair, many briefcase holders over the years have, you know? CM Punk, before he cashed in 2008, wasn't feuding with Edge and Batista. You know, he was going after the ECW title like 2 weeks before at One Night Stand. You know, Dolph Ziggler was was in a match for the tag team titles at WrestleMania 29, lost. Nothing to do with the world championship. Hadn't attempted a cash in quite some time. Then the next night on Raw, he wins the gold. So like, by design, Priest very well may be so far away, or at least feel far away from that contract or from that title right now, so that it's a big surprise, so that you forget about him in the moment, and then he comes out and cashes in and wins the belt. It's such a hard match to call. I've got to be honest, it feels so hard to call. Especially after they announced Clash at the Castle for Glasgow, Scotland today, the day I'm filming this video. Part of me has trouble seeing a world where they build McIntyre up so well. He's red hot, best he's ever probably been. And then he doesn't win the title. And again, maybe there's a little favoritism in there. Listen. Blending it all together. Drew McIntyre will be my prediction to leave Philadelphia as the World Heavyweight Champion. Damian Priest, we might see him rear his head. Maybe he cashes in and fails. I don't know. Then you got CM Punk at ringside. He might get involved, but I really don't think he's going to get involved to the point where he'd cost McIntyre like the title or anything. If anything, like I think McIntyre winning the title and Punk handed it to him, not that he has to, but like being forced to hand it to him would just be so great. You think about the video packages months from now when we're building up to McIntyre and Punk. Oh man. Drew McIntyre to win the World Heavyweight Championship on WrestleMania Sunday. I could keep going back and forth and speculating on this, that, and the third, but we're just going to keep talking in circles. McIntyre to win the World Heavyweight title. I could be wrong, and part of me feels like I will be, but I could be right, and part of me feels like I will be. We'll see on Sunday when the chosen one, hopefully, wins the World Heavyweight Championship. And alas, it is time to talk about the main event of WrestleMania 40. 1 year in the making. The Royal Rumble match winner, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, versus the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, in a matchup that I do believe will be Bloodline rules, which basically means there are no rules. Anybody can get involved, as they deliberately gave us a preview of on Monday Night Raw, and showed very deliberately how the numbers game is in the Bloodline's favor, even with Jey, even with Seth. We have talked about it multiple times, live streams, videos, and we'll get to the winner in a second, but this matchup, again, I do believe will be Bloodline rules, and I do believe it'll be effing chaos. If there is ever a time to have the most overbooked, let's call it, Attitude Era-like match, it's now. And I mean that in the most positive way. Interferences galore, and that's what the match calls for. Roman Reigns has always had the numbers. Now, all these years later, 3.5 years into this championship reign, now the numbers need to be against Roman Reigns in his own stipulation of Bloodline rules. Here's exactly how I would do it. Roman and Cody out there just having their matchup. Obviously, Paul Heyman will be out there, but Roman and Cody just to start, and they go on for however long. Jimmy Uso comes out there, gets involved. Here comes Jey to be the equalizer. Oh, well, here's Solo Sikoa. He takes out Jey Uso. Now Solo and Jimmy are beaten down on Cody Rhodes. John Cena, who I do believe one way or another will be at WrestleMania in some capacity, but I mean, if he's gonna be there, the last time we saw him was him getting his ass beat by Solo Sikoa. John Cena's gonna come down the aisle, and I know it sounds like fantasy booking, but it's the most realistic fantasy booking we've ever done here on the channel. John Cena's gonna run his ass down the aisle, beat up Jimmy, get some payback against Solo Sikoa. John Cena came to the aid. All right, Cody's gonna do it. Oh, we forgot about The Rock. Rock and Cena come face to face in the middle of a WrestleMania ring, and Rock drops John Cena with a rock bottom. And everybody knows what's coming from here. Rock and Roman, maybe they take out Cena and they don't do it right away. Let it build for a couple minutes, you know? Beat down Cody Rhodes, beat him, you know, with the belt, do a near fall where, oh my God, we thought Rock and Roman were just about to screw Cody and that was going to be it. Beat his ass. Let it build. Let the tension in Lincoln Financial Field take over. And then one thing needs to happen. The glass needs to shatter in Philadelphia. And one more time, that redneck, bald-headed son of a bitch, Stone Cold Steve Austin, needs to walk down the aisle, get into the ring with the final boss, The Rock, in Philadelphia, where they had their first WrestleMania match. Austin stunners The Rock, and hopefully The Rock does his oversell stunner, which is always, freaking fantastic. And then he can have him stunner Roman as well, but you really don't need to. At that point, the numbers are in the Cody's favor, or at least they're equal. The bloodline has been tranquilized. And after Lincoln Financial Field and collectively everybody's souls leave their body, it is down to just Cody and Roman, just as we started the match. And Cody Rhodes needs to defeat Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania Sunday to win the undisputed WWE Championship. I ain't calling it the Universal title. F the Universal title. The undisputed WWE Championship. If Cody Rhodes doesn't win this matchup, I don't know why we're fucking here. I don't know why we spent the last year throwing Lesnar at Cody, throwing the Judgment Day at Cody, throwing Nakamura at Cody, having Cody win another Royal Rumble matchup, going through all this build with The Rock and the tag match on Saturday. Why are we here if Cody Rhodes does not win the title? It's time. And I know people thought last year was the time, and we were wrong. I'm glad Roman won last year, because it gave us this whole road to WrestleMania, which has been freaking stellar. But this Sunday, it needs to come to an end. The championship reign needs to come to an end. And Roman Reigns has got meat on the bone. There is going to be a great story to tell with Roman versus The Rock from 40 to 41. And I think at 41, we finally do get The Rock versus Roman Reigns. But this Sunday night, in Lincoln Financial Field, the championship reign of 3.5 years comes crashing down. Cody Rhodes defeats Roman Reigns to win the WWE Championship. And I really can't end this any better than that. I mean, and I know we talked about the Cena stuff and the Austin stuff. We had to talk about that stuff. It may happen. It may not happen, but it's the most realistic fantasy booking thing that everybody's been throwing out there. And and it just makes sense. I don't need to say it again. Cena, Solo, Austin, Rock, Jey, Jimmy, Cody, Roman. You get the point. You get the point. WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Those are our predictions. We are done. I wanted to take my time and really break down this card to the best of my abilities. I will be at Friday Night SmackDown this Friday. I will be leaving before the Hall of Fame because, quite frankly, as much as I would like to see Paul Heyman get inducted, I don't want to stay at Wells Fargo Center till 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever it's going to be, just to go back the next morning, because I will also be at NXT Stand and Deliver on Saturday, WrestleMania on Saturday night, WrestleMania on Sunday, Raw after WrestleMania on Monday, and I'll also be at the WWE World Access session on Friday morning / afternoon. So if you're going to be at any of those, come say hello if we meet up. It would be great. I'll be in Philadelphia. I hope to see as many people there, and if you're not going to be there, freaking enjoy WrestleMania this weekend. I don't know when the review is going to be, because obviously we have a full slate ahead this weekend, but it'll be sometime next week. I'm sure I'm going to be posting clips. Keep up with my social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs, especially Instagram, to basically keep up with my weekend, keep up with my whereabouts. If you're going to be in Philadelphia, leave your predictions down below in the comments for all the matches on night 1, all the matches on night 2. Again, guys, at Noah Nation Vlogs on Twitter and Instagram. Hit the like button, subscribe down below, and turn on post notifications. That way you never miss a Noah Nation Wrestling upload. WrestleMania 40 is here, and I can't wait. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.